A man was found murdered in his own apartment on the west side of Indianapolis. Police arrested a suspect a couple of weeks later, but let him go because of insufficient evidence. But last month, they rearrested that same suspect, and now police say the charges should stick.
And Eric, I sat down with the victim's father to talk about his years-long journey.
Guys, he's in the prime of his life, and he's trying to get his stuff together, and he's trying to, do his own little thing, and he just gets snuffed out for no reason.
James Buntin Sr. remembers finding his 22-year-old son, James Buntin III, murdered in 2002. His son was a minister and a volunteer at Wishart. The cause of death was ruled blunt force trauma. But that was just the beginning of the pain for the Buntin family. Shortly after the murder, deputies arrested Robin Johnson, who was seen driving Buntin's car, which had a distinct metallic paint job. Almost as soon as they picked him up,
they just let him go. And when I asked why they let him go, they told me it's because he said he didn't do it.
It was a strong circumstantial case, but oftentimes it takes far more than circumstantial evidence to get the case even filed, let alone prosecuted.
Detective Bill Rogers is the third cold case detective to pick up Buntin's case. He said initial DNA couldn't link Johnson to the murder, but 10 years later, DNA evidence was resubmitted and they got a hit.
That evidence was able to be extracted, duplicated, and then through a long process DNA, we got a DNA hit on that.
Johnson, who had moved to California, was home for the holidays when Detective Rogers called his mom. A few days later, Johnson turned himself in. It's a day Buntin Sr. has been waiting years for.
First, I'd like to know why. And I like to ask that question to anyone who perpetrates, who commits a murder. And what gives you the right to take somebody else's life?
Buntin says he hopes to shake Detective Rogers' hand and thank him for what he's done, but says he won't have peace until there's a conviction.
It hurt. Really did.
Now, I spoke to the prosecutor's office, and they tell me that Robin Johnson is expected to be in court in March to face these charges.
Now, if all of the files behind that officer are representative of cold cases, what a challenge it is just to investigate one of these.
Yeah, and Detective Rogers just got this case in September. You saw those files. They have hundreds of cases, and he told me there's only 2 of them that work all of these cases.
Detectives for all
of IMPD. So he says you can help. If you've got a cold case that you're connected to, make a call to Homicide Department of IMPD. That's what gets their attention and will get them looking back into your case. They say that helps.
And it can be done.
And it can be done. It can be done.
Fascinating. Well, the Hoosier who played the